All right, here we go. It's our pleasure to bring you Matt Barnes, legendary NBA player with a 15-year career, NBA final winner. Just an interesting human being outside of the whole NBA career. Off the court as much as on the court.
Right.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
Well, this is our first time here, so I want to get into your whole story.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Santa Clara.
I was born in Santa Clara, grew up in San Jose.
Okay, in San Jose, which is pretty close to there.
Mm-hmm.
White mother, black father. And you have a brother and a sister?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm the oldest of three.
Okay. Now, your dad was kind of in the streets pretty heavy. You talk about that?
Yeah, he was, it's interesting because I'm doing a documentary now, and obviously when you're younger, everything is larger than life, and it's crazier than it really is. But, from my standpoint, talking to him now about those days, he was just saying he was always working. You know what I mean? So he was a butcher by trade, and then, sold drugs on the side. So I saw a lot at a young age. Back in the early 80s, people didn't hide shit. You know what I mean?
Crack era.
Right. So I saw, stuff taking place right in front of me, and it really kind of shaped my personality and my mentality. And just having an understanding of, what hardcore shit can do to you. And so like I said, I learned quick and fast.
Okay, so what were some of the most serious things that you actually saw as a kid?
Like I said, drug use, abuse. I grew up in a loving but also abusive household. Fights. My dad loved to fight, so it was kind of a thing for him to either fight in his little or tackle football leagues or at the flea market back then. That was back then when they just threw hands. It wasn't about no guns or anything else. So I learned and watched him fight, and I thought that was kind of like the coolest thing that, my dad always won fights, and I was taught early on to protect my brother and sister, so I grew up fighting as well, and it was just something that we bonded on along with sports.
Okay, because you said he was a drug dealer and a drug user.
Yes.
So was he an addict?
I wouldn't say, I would say my parents were functioning drug addicts from a standpoint of we never went without. You know what I mean? So we were always dressed the right way. We were always fed. But my parents just partied. You know what I mean? And they had it, I wouldn't say under control, but like I said, they were functioning within what they were doing.
Okay. Was it crack or?
Cocaine, crank. My dad smoked weed too. So those are probably the two or
That's not really
three things. Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, if you're talking about crank, it's
Yeah.
just speed.
Mm-hmm.
And coke, those are fairly heavy.
Yeah.
So both your parents were using.
Mm-hmm.
Did you actually see it in front of you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you would walk in and your mom would be doing a line or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
And you're like, what, 6, 7 years old or something?
Man, younger than that.
5 years old?
Younger than that. Like I said, right from the jump. From when I, earliest memories, 4 or 5 years old, seeing it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have people in my family with drug addict parents.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really just horror stories.
Mm-hmm.
Coming home and all the furniture is in the front lawn.
Mm-hmm.
Lights are off. Trying to figure out where they're going to, staying in shelters.
Yeah, see, like I said, ours, that's why I kind of say, like, the word addict kind of, I think, puts one perspective on it. Like I said, although my parents were users, it was never anything over the top like that. Like I said, it was always, the lights were always on, and we always had food, and the TV worked, and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, they were just functioning within that. Like I said, the one thing that was funny, like when my dad would get beyond it, he would want to build. So he used to build like all of our furniture, like the bookshelf, bed frames, coffee tables, all kinds of shit.
He would get high and start building furniture.
He'd be in a garage all night building shit. You know what I mean? So like I said, I don't like to use the word addict because I've seen addicts and seen the effects of it and how unstable their situation was. I would just say like they were functioning users.
Okay. And he was dealing as well.
Right.
So was he getting busted along the way?
I wouldn't say busted. He got popped. Almost got popped. But he was, he went to jail for, domestic violence a few times against my mom, and I remember seeing that. And then I think the final point was former acquaintances or friends, or they tried to come rob him at gunpoint. And I remember I was watching out the window. Probably I was 7 or 8-ish. and he beat both dudes up, took their guns, and then shortly after that, we packed up and left San Jose and never really returned until, man, when I played for the Warriors in 2007. So almost 20 years had passed since I had went back to my old neighborhood.